Okay, hey, this is David. Here we are at Twin Cities Pride 2016, and we're doing our American Leather stories. I'm David, and this is
Leaf.
Leaf. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Happy Pride.
You too.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Actually, I haven't had you here, but it's great that you're here with me.
Arf.
Yeah. All right. So now that R just told me you're pretty heavily into the puppies, right?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty involved with the lead pack and North Star Kennel Club. So.
Fantastic. So what got you started into the puppies?
So, puppy play was kind of a long time in coming for me. It kind of started with a general interest in kind of the furry world and puppies and a lot of sort of exploring. I had a friend who used to be kind of into it, and he sort of got me looking at stuff, researching stuff. And then actually it was a Kink U weekend at the Salon that was doing a puppy play demo with Jason Little was one of the people leading it. And I went to that and kind of stood around the edges for a while and just sort of watched, wasn't really sure what to do. That was kind of my first real experience into it. And then Jason Little had met me there and invited me later to go to his send-off for IML, and I met a bunch more puppies, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Wow, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. So now you guys have events and moshes and all kinds of stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So what are some of your favorite events that the puppies do?
Some of my favorite events actually are not even necessarily the moshes and some of the puppy events. One of my favorite ones we've done was last year. We took a canoe trip down the Cannon River, and we had probably a dozen and a half of us in canoes for the day going down the river, and it was a lot of fun. We got to just kind of be social and be kind of wild out on the boats down the river, and it was a pretty good time. The moshes are always fun, so each one's a little bit different. You never really know what to expect in terms of if it's going to be a really energetic mosh or kind of a relaxing time. So it keeps it interesting.
That's awesome. All right, now you're talking to somebody who I have a lot of friends who are pups, and I enjoy the pup community, but I'm not like in the pup community, so I'm not like so I'm kind of ignorant in some ways. So I guess my question is are there things that like trigger is pup always, because all right, here I'm going to go. For me, DS is my headspace, and it's always there.
Yep.
So the dominant submission, that kind of headspace, that leather for me is always there.
Yep.
Is it like that for pups, or are there triggers that send you into puppy space?
So I imagine it's the same for dumb sub. For every puppy, it's a little bit different.
Sure.
But for a lot of pups, yes, it is one of those things that's sort of always there. I know for me, it definitely is. And there are certain triggers that will kind of push me towards headspace. But especially when I'm comfortable around a group of people who I know are kink friendly, that's when the arfs and barks and stuff start coming out in normal speech. Yeah. And after a while, it gets kind of hard to turn off. But but yeah, it is kind of one of those things that's always sort of there. You just always sort of feel the pup, I guess, kind of clawing at the back of your head, trying to come out a little bit. So.
Yeah.
And then you get into the right environment, and certain triggers or just push you all the way into headspace. So.
Yeah. Okay, so it is real similar. That's so cool. Now, how long you been around?
I've been in the puppy community now for a little over 2 years.
Okay. So in those 2 years, have you seen it change? Have you seen growth? And I'm not talking necessarily numbers, but just in terms of its development, the community here, have you seen it change? Definitely
our local community. I know when I first started, the Kennel Club was sort of an idea of Jason Little's, and it was more of an informal organization that he was starting to put together. And since then, we've become a full-blooded organization, starting to do a lot of things, and starting to reach more out into our community and try and get more people involved. So I'd say, especially our local community has grown quite a bit in terms of maturity and coming together as a community rather than, finding pups, here and there, kind of a thing. So,
where do you see the community going in terms? I mean, do you envision a direction that the community goes in, or in terms of the greater community or itself?
Yep. I think it will continue to kind of grow and mature more. I know we're starting to plan some more larger events for pups in the area that will hopefully bring more pups in from out of state, so we can get more, more broad appeal to people outside of just the local area coming, and getting to experience our community. So I feel, it will continue to kind of grow and evolve with the rest of the pup scene.
Got it. All right. So this is a personal one. So, when you're in pup space, what's happening? What's happening for you? What is it that gets your juices going?
So, pup space is an interesting thing because it in a lot of ways, it's kind of pushing the human thoughts, your human self, to the back, and just letting puppy take over, which is very sort of spontaneous and impulsive almost. So there's really, especially like in a mosh, there's not necessarily a whole lot of thought going on. For me, I tend to, with new pups, be sort of, I guess I don't know how you'd phrase it, but I tend to try and bring new pups in by engaging them and starting to play with them. I like to play with the new puppies. And it's just, kind of one of those things where it's, you see puppies playing and you just want to kind of join them or, get involved playing with the toys, or sometimes just go cuddle in a corner with some of them. Yeah. So it's very sort of surreal in that you don't feel necessarily connected to the day-to-day 9 to 5 parts of your life.
Right.
So.
All right. Now I'm going to get really personal. Puppy sex. Talk to me about that. It's something that I have no connection with, and I'm like, all right, how do puppies fuck?
So that's one area I don't have a whole lot of experience in yet. Sure. But it's kind of one of those headspace things again where I know when I have gotten into it, it's been a lot of it comes down to displays of dominance and submission to other puppies. So it has
that would turn me on.
Yeah, it has a lot of that play in it. So, I mean, for me, I'm typically more of a submissive, but my puppy side is the one area where you can kind of bring some dom out of me a little bit with the right puppy. And, it's just kind of one of those things where it's, you throw the puppy down and just...
just pound, just...
Yeah. Pretty much. So, it's nope, you're going to be my bitch for a little while.
That's awesome. So I love that. Thanks. I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you. Thanks a lot, Leaf. It's good to see you. Yeah. Yar. Now, this is David. He's talking to Leaf here at Minnesota Pride 2016, and we're telling our American leather stories. Thanks.